Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Bernie G. You're listening to Nightbird Radio on WCCR 590 AM The One. Today's special guest is Students of Educational Rights, or S.E.R. We have Davey and Esida. Tell the student body what's up. Let them know how you're doing.
Peace, CCNY students. This is Davey. Well, S.E.R. stands for Students for Educational Rights, CCNY. We're the folks that brought you lifting the cap on the page limit in the computer lab, in the NAC lab last semester. We had over 1,000 signatures. And we're the folks that also brought you a 24-hour,
study space in the library. This is Esida. Hi guys, how are you doing? We had a petition going to have permanent study space. We didn't get that yet, but we're working on it. We'll get it soon enough, don't worry.
And we're also the folks that bring you the book exchange, which is the only alternative to the price gouging bookstore at CCNY. You know what the bookstore does, they buy books back for 10 cents, and then they sell that same exact book for $100.10. So we let you, through the Morales Shakur Center upstairs at room 3201, we give you access to sell your books for the price that you think is appropriate, and then people can buy those same books for a reasonable price.
So let's say, for example, let's say I have a textbook cost $100, and I want you guys to sell it. Is it a portion, a percentage of that $100, or how does that exactly work? So if I give you a book, if I give the Shakur Center a book for $100, like how much money? Because when I give a book to the bookstore, they usually give me less than 20% of the actual cost of the book. So, but if someone wants to be part of this book exchange, if I bought a book for $100 in the beginning of the semester, how much would I expect in a return at the end of the semester in this book exchange?
You get in return the price you name. If you want to sell your book for $40, you fill out a form. You leave the book with us. When the book sells, we give you the $40, and if it doesn't sell, you can pick it up and you can bring it back the next semester.
Right.
All we do is add a small fee of $1 per $10, and it stops at $100.
Okay.
So that we can make copies, print out the lists, buy paper, just the administrative things that you need to basically sell the books. And it's all volunteers. Nobody gets paid for doing this. We do it because it's unfair. It's unfair what the bookstore charges. Yeah.
How long has this program been going on, the book exchange?
Since 1990, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's not always advertised. Like, not everybody knows about it, but we do our best to get it out, to get the word out there.
Right.
But I've been on and off coming to school since 2003, and every semester I've been here, there's been a book exchange.
Right. So and just to interject, to kind of give you a reason why the bookstore, price gouges students, is because they can. They have a monopoly over book selling on campus, and on top of all that, they don't pay rent. They pay 3% of all their revenue to City College, and only a portion of that goes to student services, which is it doesn't really make sense because we're the people that they're price gouging, and only a certain percentage comes to us, and it's not a whole lot either. Only 3% is pretty ridiculous.
Has this program, since it's been here since the 90s, been successful, or?
Yeah, it's very successful. The more students that participate, the more books we have available, because it's books that students are selling. It's like we're the middleman, making things easier for both the seller and the buyer, because all the books are in one place. But if we had more students, the more successful it would be.
Right. We usually collect somewhere along the lines of, I would say anywhere from 300 to 600 books per semester. And then at the end of the semester, if your book doesn't sell, then you can pick it up.
All right. One thing that you guys mentioned was regarding the printing limit, because everyone is glad that the printing limit is now gone, because I remember it was $250.
Amen. It
was raised to about $500 or $600 later, then now it's banned. But a lot of people are just generally, because I know USG has been claiming that they are the ones that were behind it. So you're saying you guys are the one behind it, not them?
Right. We basically walked around campus with petitions, and we got way over 1,000 signatures, and presented that to the president, and also went to many meetings that the president was having that wasn't necessarily in regards to the printing cap, and we made sure that she acknowledged this. And so first they raised it to what was it, to 500 or 550, and then this year, we kept on pushing for it, and eventually it got completely lifted. So that's a big success. USG kind of feels as though, I'm sure they kind of feel as though they need something to hold on to, since the only thing that they've really worked on is getting more microwaves in the cafeteria, which they've been successful at. But that's their only claim to fame. So stealing other people's claim to fame probably would encourage them to keep on going further.
Okay.
And as soon as we found out about the issue, we took action. I think it's important to say we were outraged, and we asked students, is this okay with you? And they said no. So we immediately took steps by starting the petition, by writing letters, by speaking to the president, in saying this is not okay, this is not what we want, this is our technology fee that you're using and limiting us in how it's being used. It's up to us how our technology fee is used.
Right. And also, we asked USG, I asked Kenroy specifically, for him to help us in, because USG has all the resources.
Yes.
And so we asked Kenroy. I asked Kenroy specifically, just one-on-one, and he said you're on your own. And he said that he spoke to VP Rodriguez about this, and he said that there's nothing he can do, so that he just gave up. And I don't think that's what a student representative should be doing. They should be representing the student voice and putting their foot down and keeping it down.
For those that don't know, VP Rodriguez is VP of Student Affairs. So as we mentioned, USG, Kenroy was here a couple of weeks ago talking about the student activity fee. As you guys don't know, the student activity fee is a fee paid by every undergraduate in their semester bill, and it finances, the Office of Student Life, USG, Athletics and Recreation, the Media Board, NIPERD, University Student Senate, Children Development Center, Volunteer Emergency Squad, and the Wellness and Counseling Center. So that fee at the end of your bill, after you pay all your classes, it finances all those departments. And USG, headed by Kenroy, is on an aggressive campaign to increase it by 80% from $94.35 to $90.35. And
$44.
From 44 to
$44 to $90.35. And the USG and athletes needed about 1,220 signatures. And according from Kenroy on a Facebook status, he believes that he has about that number. It's not verified yet, because they needed that deadline. The deadline was March 25th, which, if Kenroy is right, then I guess they have enough people on the petition to put it on the ballot.
Right.
So if it's on the ballot on May 3rd, between May 3rd and May 5th, students could vote yea or nay on the proposed raised. So now we want to know student educational rights. What do you guys feel about it, about the student activity fee?
We're against raising the student activity fee because a lot of students in CCNY really can't afford to pay more money than they already are. Even if a lot of students pay out of pocket, and it might only seem like $50 or whatever it is, but it's really affecting students. And if the money was being spent wisely, then it wouldn't be and they needed more money, it wouldn't be a problem. But the thing is, they really haven't exhausted all their resources that are available to them, because USG, they get a stipend from the student activity fee, so they not only have time, they have money, and they're also supposed to be representing the students. And they really didn't say, would you like for the fee to be increased? They really just said, we need this to happen. So they're not really representing the voice of the students.
Right. And on top of that, I mean, I wrote an open letter, and I published it on, well, actually, Esida and I wrote an open letter, and we were promised by several members of USG who had lied to us and said that they originally said that they were going to be posting it on, that they would be able to broadcast it through CCNY's email to all students. And since then, they've retracted, several people involved. And one of the things that we wanted to give to the students was the whole story. It's obvious that that we have a budgetary goal that we're not meeting, and that our budgetary reality needs to be changed. But before we change that, we can't dig into the shallow pockets of students at this point. The first thing that we have to do is exhaust other resources, and the first resource that we should be exhausting is most definitely hiring a grant writer. USG gets a budget has a budget for this year of $117,000 at their disposal. And they get high stipends. All the executives within USG get high stipends. But one of the things that they could be investing, instead of investing all their time in working to get this student activity fee raised, which is hitting people in the pockets, they could hire a grant writer, they could apply for endowments, or they could have serious talks with representatives of the CCNY administration to see if there are other pockets of revenue that's open to them, so that they could do stuff, so that they could meet their budgetary goals. But also, I just want to address that there are that SSC, the Student Services Corporation, which handles all the money from the student activity fee, is relatively it's a very large, bureaucratic, and inefficient organization that is run directly under administrative control. I believe there's only two students that sit on that board.
Ken Roy and
I'm not sure who the other person is, but yes, Ken Roy does sit on that board. And there are some very unethical things going on, and one thing that I'm very glad to be on this radio show to announce is that administrative salaries are being paid out of the student services corporation budget, which is basically in direct violation with the contract SSC has with CCNY, making this transaction illegal and also unethical.
A point that I want to make, the reason why we are against even putting this on the ballot as of right now is because students don't have the whole picture.
Yeah.
If this is what students want, then this is what they want. They can do it.
Okay.
But without having all the information, it's unethical to ask somebody to make a decision if you give them half truths. Another point that's very important is that the first floor, we mentioned earlier that the bookstore doesn't pay rent, right?
Yeah.
The first and second floor of this building were built using the student activity fee money.
Okay.
This means that this space is guaranteed student space.
Mm-hmm.
We have both the bookstore and the Bear Cafe in the first floor, and they're not paying rent. If they were paying rent, that's something that could be since they already took the space,
Yeah.
If they were paying rent, that could go into the student activity fee funds and subsidize, even reduce what we're paying now.
Mm-hmm.
So why charge us more,
That's one option that they haven't exhausted yet.
Do you think there's anything that students could do to pressure administration to make these corporations that like now the Hoffman has Bear Cafe?
Yeah, Bear Cafe.
And there's a lot of more in the cafeteria. There's Yo Tango, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that students as a group or whole could do to pressure the CCNY administration to make them pay rent, or anyway bring this to CCNY administration?
I mean, I would say absolutely. Unfortunately, there is kind of a culture of fear. On campus. People are kind of afraid. We have a huge, and I think this is kind of what adds to it. We have a huge security, presence on campus, and people are afraid to protest. People are afraid to ask, tough questions. Even though these questions might have been brought up in their heads, they're kind of afraid to air it, simply because, I guess the academic integrity of our school is kind of, unstable, because, you could be attacked, and people could be attacked in other ways, but that hasn't been the reality ever since I've been, I guess, 2 out of the 4 years that I've been here, and I'm about to graduate in June, but 2 out of the 4 years that I've been here, I have, been an activist, and I've asked those tough questions, and I've never had to face any of those issues that people are fearful of. But one thing that I definitely think that students as a whole should do at CCNY is put pressure on the people that they elected to represent them.